off, baby. Start it off. Start it off. Start it off. Start it off.
Well, it's been about, this is 2 weeks later. We didn't record last week, but we're back.
Like we never left.
How are you feeling?
All things considered. What's so funny?
What are the things to consider?
I think it's waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning, going to the gym, just being like, oh my God, what the fuck is happening? And then getting all of these things set up properly. I'm like, yeah, it's a lot, but I feel good overall.
Are you ready for a nap?
I'm ready to do a deep slumber.
Oh.
For sure.
Well, it's only, like 11:30 in the morning?
Sleep is for all hours of the day. So the moment that we finish this, and then we're gonna get lunch later. But yeah, I feel good. How are you feeling, baby?
I feel great. I mean, I wake up early every single day. I go from sun up to sundown with no breaks, no rest, no nap.
Disgusting.
So yeah, I'm feeling good. I mean, I have a lot of things I need to accomplish today, but nothing that won't get done. I took yesterday completely off, so I think that's part of it. I knew that by laying on the couch yesterday and like kind of having leisure time meant that it would be more jam-packed today, but I think it's fine.
Excellent. I'm so happy to hear that.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm gonna do exactly what we did yesterday, and that's several naps during the day. You know what I mean? If you wanna operate on a full battery, you gotta recharge. You know what I mean? Just keep me plugged in by sleeping.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Okay, well, welcome to episode number 2. This time we have a full setup. So thank you. It looks great. We made some adjustments from last week. And when I say we, I definitely mean you. I did not do any of the work.
You gave me the direction, the insight. We recorded last week, and I was like, okay, everything was a muck. Everything was shutting down. But I'm like, okay, this time, people don't just want to hear our voice. They want to see what we look like. They need to see that we easy on eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I do say so myself, I think
I hate
quite...
when you do that.
You don't like that?
No, I really don't.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. Keep going. Love.
Okay, but yeah, we back. We're doing this. Everything is recording well. All cameras are set up, and now we have the second episode to shoot. So, what are we going to be tackling today, gorgeous?
Okay, well, last week, not actually, 2 weeks ago, we talked about how we met. It's also coming up on a year, Wednesday of this week. I mean, a year, 3 years. Why do I keep saying a year? It's been 3 years since I met you.
It's been a couple days.
I just met you yesterday. So we figured that we would talk a little bit about like long distance relationships and just like a few topics within that larger category of long distance relationships, since we were in a long distance relationship, or LDR, if you want to give a short and condensed. You don't like that?
You and your acronyms.
I grew up in Orange County, California. Everything is an acronym.
OMG.
Okay, sure. Anyway, so I figured we could talk through long distance and kind of what our experience was, see if we can chat through some misconceptions, and like what worked well for us when we were long distance in terms of how much we communicated and how often we saw each other.
Just for the record,
Yeah.
I don't think long distance is for everybody.
Hot take?
Is that a hot take?
I mean, in our relationship, it is.
Why is that? What makes you say that?
I don't think that you thought that we could do long distance when we first met.
Hell no. All right. Sorry if that was
very
too
loud.
Yeah,
if someone's AirPods are turned up, their eardrum is now
I don't know.
blasted.
I'm so sorry.
He's gonna be responsible for paying the bill.
Heck no. HE double hockey sticks, no. Long distance, no thank you. Keep it.
Okay, I personally think that it can work. I always thought that it could work if the right circumstances and the right people were involved.
Well, you're always the right person for every situation.
That's not
That's why
necessarily
you
true.
always make it work.
No.
Except when we work out together, I'm like, nah, I gotta leave you at home. I'm kidding.
That is so mean. Also, I'm not going to the gym with you ever again.
No, please.
No,
it's great.
fine. It's fine. I'll get my own gains on my own time by
baby.
myself.
Come on, who you gonna get gains if it ain't with me, baby?
Anyway, back on track.
Yes, long distance.
We can talk about the gym and like relationship habits later on, because at first I'm like, a good idea. I mean, I kind of asked if I could go with you, and now you're like, don't ever come back with me. So we'll set that for a later episode.
We're gonna work out together. But back on topic, long distance.
Okay, so here's a question to you. Why? So you still think they don't work for everyone? They're not good for everyone?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, why?
Well, it goes into the common beliefs. I think everyone has their thing that they need in order for them to feel confident and comfortable in a relationship. And I think proximity is one of them. I don't know if it's, if you want to tap into like the aspect of love languages or anything like that. But I, in an ignorant opinion, think that physical touch is very much needed for people.
Sure.
And if you're not around, like, at least every day, I think people would prefer to, if they're going to be in a relationship, to be able to see their partner every single day.
But one would argue, and that the one that's arguing is me, that being able to physically touch your partner doesn't necessarily allow you the same space to connect intellectually, because you rely on the physical nature of your relationship to like drive you forward.
Okay, so that's a hot take, that you think people prioritize the physical touch over the intellectual connection.
I don't know that I think this. I think I have enough in my own experience with people that I know and things that I've observed, that is what takes over.
Okay.
Because people typically are having sex in the first few weeks of knowing each other, which means then that becomes like a routine thing. So where time is spent being intimate sexually, it could have been spent being intimate intellectually.
Damn, girl, you real good with your words. I like you. What? So you a therapist, huh? What books you be reading?
I'm not a licensed therapist. Please do not tell people this.
Yet.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so that's your hot take. My hot take is, I think if people spent more time talking to each other about the intricacies of relationships and what they want out of it, and really connecting on like a personal level, not necessarily in place of, but in addition to physical touch, then it could be just as successful.
I mean, I don't think that's too wild of a hot take. I think that can be applied. I think that's something that people might need to be aware of, for sure. I think that growing up, I've always heard people say, or at least my perspective on long distance relationships is the aspect of like infidelity. You know what I mean? Because you can't keep your eye on your partner 24/7.
100%.
You know what I mean? If you leave the room, I'm like, I need to look in there to see if she's still good. You know what I mean? I'm not saying just because I'm not around you, you're going to cheat. But I think that when it comes to people having long distance relationships, it's typically like, oh, you don't know what they could be doing. You know what I mean? They could be playing in your face. I love that phrase, by the way.
I don't even know.
I love that phrase. Yo, you're playing in my face right now. I love that shit. But anyway, it's always something that I was aware of. And nobody wants to be blindsided, have the rug pulled out underneath you.
Yeah, but also one could argue that could happen whether or not you live in close proximity to somebody.
Sure, but why increase the probability with distance?
I don't think the two are... Causation is not correlation in this situation. The two don't have to be mutually exclusive. Just because you live away from someone in a larger distance does not mean that they're more likely to partake in infidelity.
Sure.
It does mean that there's less opportunity for you to be maybe aware of it when it's happening, because you're not close enough to see it going on. But let's be real, people are going to be sneaky if they want to be sneaky, and cheat if they want to cheat.
True. And I think, and that's interesting because you brought up earlier that people typically prioritize their physical connection, and they think that's the only thing that's really holding the relationship together.
Not only thing, but
that's the predominantly like biggest thing.
Yeah. Well, I think that like when you're in a relationship, you tend to rely on the physical aspect of the relationship after like the initial fire butterflies begin. It's just like human nature. Life gets busy. You start doing stuff. So there's like less time that you're actually taking to like connect. I also think that a lot of people don't necessarily believe that their partner, there's more things to learn about their partner over time, which is why I think that relationships end so frequently. People think that the person I met today is the same person I'm going to know in a year or 2 years, 5 years from now. But it's not the case. I mean, hopefully it isn't, in my opinion.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm learning about you every single day, and I know you for, 3 years?
Yeah.
God damn. I've known you way too long. I know everything about you. Don't be switching up now talking about your favorite color, blue, when yesterday was green. Don't be trying to switch it up on me.
I'm going to do everything that you do. I want to be the exact same. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so we talked about a little bit of some of the common beliefs about long distance relationships. You shared some of them. What other, besides like, that it lends itself to maybe more opportunities to be out here in the streets, what else are some of the beliefs around like long distance relationships?
I mean, what constitutes as long distance?
This is the reason why like we can never just ask a question, because you will ask the secondary question to the question that was asked.
I was just about to answer. Like, for
okay.
example, you and I.
Yeah.
I was living in Vegas and you were living in LA.
You forgot where I live for a second?
Well, I was going to say Orange County.
I didn't live in Orange County.
Okay. Well, you were living in LA.
Yeah.
Some people would be like, that's not long distance.
Okay. Well, long distance is anything that's longer than a 30-minute drive, in my opinion.
Okay. So
an hour, maybe like long distance can be constituted in this sense as like anything out of state.
Okay.
Or like if you're in the state of California, it would need to, because California is so large that you can't really just say like only out of state, because someone could be living in California in SoCal and someone else could be living in the Bay Area, and that's a 10-hour drive.
Sure.
So I would say it's like anything over the distance in a car of like 2 hours.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Don't you think that my ex and I were long distance? That was like 75 miles in between us. I couldn't easily get there.
I didn't know that.
What? Yes, you did.
I'll be paying attention to nobody other than me. What are you talking about? It's only about me. I don't know about that other man. No, but anyway, well, yeah, sure. I think there's a lot of people that would say, like, if I told them, well, when I used to tell them, like, oh yeah, my girl's in LA, they'll be like, oh, well, that's not really long distance because, you can see them more frequently. I'm like, I guess. Sure.
But the thing about it is, like, if you look at the map and calculate the number of miles, it is not a short distance. It's a long distance. It's hundreds of miles away.
Sure.
So I'm just like, anybody who's saying that, if they're talking about like, oh, I've been in a relationship that's like bi-coastal, it's a whole different form of long distance relationships, or like somebody that's in one country versus another.
So there's levels to it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think it helped that we were on the same time zone and a 45-minute flight away and a 4-hour drive away, or 3.5, whatever. Okay, back to some other like misconceptions or beliefs about long distance. What are some other beliefs about long distance relationships?
I mean, those are the only ones that come up in mind. Is like the infidelity or the it's not sustainable. It just doesn't work ultimately.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't really listen to people's opinions, I'll be honest. Even though we're making a podcast where people are listening to our opinions, I don't really consume media in that kind of way. But if I had to think back to times I talked about long distance relationships, I would say that those are some of the few that always come up.
Well, I always have, like, my mindset is if you want the relationship to work, you'll make it work. You'll do whatever you have to in order to make it work.
Okay, so let's talk about the reason why you were apprehensive to get into a long distance relationship with me at the start.
Well, yeah, it wasn't just that it was long distance. Mind you, there
were other problems.
It wasn't problems, it was just things to take.
There were other red flags.
Things to take into account. I was just weighing the options.
Like what? What were you taking into account?
Let's stick with the long distance, the LDR, okay? But yeah, everything I was saying, like, I've never been in a long distance relationship before. So it's a brand new thing to me. And I'm like, if I'm going to be in a relationship with you, I want to maximize on everything. That means you got to be at least in the same state. We got to be around, so on and so forth. Now, that doesn't mean I got to keep my eye on you. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm just saying I want to maximize on the things that would make the relationship work. And that's proximity.
So for you, proximity was the main contributor as to why you didn't think that you might be able to get into a successful long distance relationship with me.
Sure. Okay, all right.
Why was your lip quivering?
Because it's not that simple.
Well, I'm just trying to bottom line it for the people. That's all.
Okay, in a pie chart, sure, it was a core of
a quarter.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so what was the rest of the pie chart?
Okay, since we're gonna go there, I thought it was gonna be in the other aspects of the other podcast.
We have a whole hour, so
sure, okay.
Let's get into it.
All right. Well, another thing is my own personal mindset about relationships. I personally didn't think that I was ready for a relationship because, shit, you know what I mean? Vegas, boy.
I mean, I think that after 10 years of being in Vegas, you had your fair share of play and fun.
Okay, wait. Don't just say, okay, let's keep it PG-13.
I did. I said play and fun.
Okay, all right. Well, what I'm saying is, living in Vegas is such a transient state, or it can be. When I first came here, you know what I mean? Young, dark, and handsome. Let's call it what it is. But as far as making a connection with somebody, you're not gonna find love in the club. I mean, you might.
Usher did. He made love in the club.
He made love, but I don't think he found love.
But Rihanna found love in Hopeless Place, and that could be what the club is. I'm really ready to go with my musical references.
I feel like we should just drop in different sound bites.
I think so too. Or
I hope we don't get copyright.
Yeah, we're gonna get sued. I don't have money for that.
As far as my perception of relationships and living in Vegas for so long, I'm like, there's just no way that I can find a relationship.
Okay, so what percentage of the pie chart is that?
Another 25.
Okay, so we have 50% of it covered. What's the other half of it?
I think upbringing, my personal upbringing, and this is this has nothing to do with my parents like that. Mm-hmm. But I think that, how do I say this? I feel like I'm in a therapy session. I should have wrote my feelings down on paper. I feel like I put too much on expectation. So for example, and this is me showing my ass. Okay, good morning. All right, this is me being vulnerable. Okay, but typically what would happen is if I meet someone new, I'd be like, first day I'd be like, yep, mother of my children, ready to get married today. It's done. But what happens is you put too much pressure on the person that you're starting to date, and you start building up this idea of who this person is without actually seeing who they are.
Yeah.
And so I put way too much. Growing up and dating, I realized I kept on falling into that same trap. And so when I came across you, I was like, do you know what? I'm not going to do that again. I don't even, hey, we're going to keep it. Slow and steady wins the race. That's why I was saying. Slow and steady wins the race. So
okay, so that was another 25%?
I would probably say that was like a decent, it's definitely closer to 50.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it was a big portion of the pie.
It was a big portion of the pie.
Okay.
But long distance was a factor, but I think that was the main thing. I was just like, I know what I fall victim to, and I didn't want to do that to you, to us. So
sure. Okay, thanks for letting me put you on the hot seat.
Yeah, no, I'm like, yo, we have, okay, why you ask me for a breakdown of what we're going to tackle? And then you're like, curveball, so why are you trash? I'm like, God damn.
No, you're not trash at all. That's not what I was saying. Absolutely not.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Keep it going, baby.
We have some technical issues.
We're good. Just making sure that's still recording.
Okay, so you didn't think it was going to work in the beginning. At what point did you believe there was possibility for us. Because, I mean, for the record, when we met, I was just visiting Vegas, but I was living in LA, or just about to move to LA from Orange County. And then throughout the duration of our relationship, up until I moved here a year ago, so for 2 years, we were doing long distance, and I was living in LA. You're living here in Vegas. So, like, at what point in the course of our relationship where you're like, okay, I can make this work long distance?
I think within a month, and it's because you showed dedication and a willingness to make it work. Like, so for example, I mean, after the first time we met, I'm like, okay, so am I gonna see you next week? Am I gonna see you this month? Are you gonna come out here? I didn't know what was what.
Yeah.
But the fact that I think that you were like, hey, I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna book a flight. And I think you came up within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks.
I wasn't expecting that. Just being like, hey, yo, I'm going to come back out here. I'm like, okay, cool. That showed me that you were willing to actually put in the work. And I wasn't like, well, I'm not going to do anything if you don't, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But once I saw that, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I can do the same. And so when did I come out next? Was it
Mother's Day, when I moved to LA officially.
So what was that like?
So like
2
I
weeks
met
off
you
though?
in April, like early April. I came back to Vegas like the weekend, and I think of the 20th. And then you came out May. Mother's Day is always like the second Sunday of May. So like 2 weeks. It was like 2 weeks after, I think, I had visited you.
Yeah, so I think there was, in terms of taking everything with a grain of salt, we were both putting in the relationship to try and make it work.
So that's why after a month, you're like, okay,
Yeah,
this
like,
can work.
for sure.
Did you have any reservations about us being long distance and like still continuing to date each other after the month?
Yeah, I did. I mean, and that's because I'm like, what are you trying to get at?
I just want to understand. I'm just asking because I think it's important knowing that your hot take is, or maybe it's not a hot take, but like maybe popular opinion is that long distance relationships typically don't work out or they won't work out. I think it's important for people to hear the way in which you arrived at, okay, maybe this one will actually work, or this time it could work with this person.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for everybody. I'm just me.
No, I know, I know.
What I mean?
But I think it's important. It's an important perspective to hear because, at least from my perspective, I typically don't hear people talking about, oh, I used to think this, and then now after this situation, like I think that it could work with the right kind of people.
Well, yeah, I think the biggest factor was showing that we could show up for one another and make the attempts to visit. But I think even more so than that, we talked every single day.
That's a great segue because we're going to talk about like cadence and like the modes that we communicated in. So tell the people how we first started communicating.
No, I had to hit up with that. Hey, Shawty, what's good with you?
Not on a phone call. Also, realize how he just went like this.
Yeah.
What kind of phone is this?
The millennials do this. What is that? What is?
No, you're a millennial.
What is that?
You're a millennial.
Sorry, zillennials do that.
No, it's Gen Z. Not everyone's a zillennial. It's a very small population of us.
Okay, we do this.
Gen Z.
Y'all do that.
Gen Z. No one's doing. What is this?
This is picking up the cell phone.
It's like this.
Oh my god.
This is a C in sign language.
Okay.
What is this? When did a phone look like this?
I thought you said you used to have a rotary phone when you were younger.
It was fake.
Okay, but what did the actual thing that you put up to
Well,
your
we can't
ear
make
look
it like this. It's like
Okay.
a circle with like a and a circle.
Okay. You do that with your hand. That's the exact same thing.
It's frightening that you're.
Either way, I had to hit you with that. Hey, shawty, what's good with you? You know what I mean? Talking to you, phone calls. See, I'm old school. We don't really do that texting. You know what I mean? But the evolved version is voice memos.
Yeah. So okay, we started talking via voice memos. Literally 2 days after I got back from meeting you in Vegas, and that's kind of like maintained throughout the duration of a relationship. I mean, we send them less now because we live together. But even if I don't see you for like, let's say you wake up and I'm not in the house, sometimes you might send me a voice memo.
Yeah, you know, just keep it fresh, stay consistent.
Some nostalgia.
You know what I mean? Something slight.
Yeah. Okay, so we started with voice memos, and why did you want to communicate that way? Because I personally had never sent a voice memo before I met you.
Yeah, I think like I said, can't speak for everybody, but if you're talking to somebody, you're in the dating phase, nobody wants to double text. You know what I mean? Like, you can't seem thirsty. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna do that. But you can get away with it sending a voice memo because it's that one line. You know what I mean? But I'm not talking about I'm gonna go on a whole dissertation. You know what I mean? But it was being intentional. Sometimes reading something through text doesn't necessarily evoke any kind of emotion. You don't get your point across. But if I was to literally text you, hey, good morning, that could come off dry.
Hey, but if you say it like that.
Well, I mean, like I said, I know that she likes the way the voice sounds. So I was like,
I'm slowly shriveling up.
Hey, good morning. Hope your day is going to go well. Just tap in with me anytime. We can talk later. She's really
I'm sweating. My eyes are watering and I'm feeling sweaty.
I'm so sorry. You okay?
No, yeah, I'm fine. Okay. Whew, Lord.
That is so funny.
Anyway, but you're right. It does evoke emotion. That's like I'm not acting either. That's like for real.
Your eyes is watering.
I know. I
wonder if it's picking up on that camera.
Hopefully not.
But yeah, it's using my strengths. And mind you, I don't look at myself as, okay, like, yeah, I'm British. I'm going to get you with my accent. You know what I mean? It's not even that. But it's the closest thing to being as close as possible.
It's the closest thing to physical proximity.
Yeah.
Which is what you value.
Yeah.
See how I tie it all back? That's why I had to ask these questions so I can come back and just put a right nice little red bow on it.
You got me figured out, baby. Look, see, this is why we needed to do this podcast, because you be sounding good, be saying stuff, make me sound good.
You do that on your own.
You be talking good.
Okay, so we used to send voice memos, which we both have admitted to having like redoing it multiple times for it to sound the best, and for like I've done them over and over again.
It would be about 17 takes. I'd be like, "Hey, what's going on? Delete. Why am I sounding like that? Hello. Oh wait, no, messed up." And sometimes I would say something so perfectly, but I think like maybe 10 seconds in, I might stumble on my words. I'm like, I can't have her thinking I'm an imbecile. So I'm like, we got to do this over again. And then obviously I'm like, yo, stop putting so much pressure on yourself. Just make it quick. Hey, hope you're doing well. Can't wait to talk to you later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were great. They were so fun. Okay, so I would say like that was the number one way that we communicated like throughout the day. And we didn't communicate like all day long either.
Yeah, not at all. It's and I think that's another aspect of like not putting too much pressure on the relationship, on the aspect. Like I send a quick voice memo, hope you're doing well, but I'm living my life. Yeah. You know?
I used to wish that we talked more throughout the day.
You gotta leave them wanting more. I'm telling you, hey, I'm busy. I'm about my business.
Well, then I realized that you were a night owl and that you probably were just like asleep if I didn't hear from you. So I was like, okay, well.
Oh yeah.
You know, because you would stay up until like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was waking up at that time to go to work.
Yeah, you weren't the only long distance relationship I was trying to uphold.
Yeah, you had your brothers.
I got family in England. You know what I mean? Time zones, at least 8 hours, trying to make the best of both worlds.
Yeah, you were busy, booked.
Some had to give. You know what I mean?
Okay, so did we only send voice memos, or do we do other things?
Yeah, okay, so I love a good FaceTime, but at the same time, I don't know, people aren't really comfortable with that.
With FaceTime?
So
well,
some people are like, yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is I think because I done mustered you up, you know what I mean, with all these voice memos, I was like, let's do the next step. Don't even do FaceTime. Let's just talk on the phone. You know what I mean? I did those phone calls. And
You
then
did a few phone calls for a while.
yeah, and what it's like when you just be on the phone all night, and that's something that I didn't realize when we would talk. When's the last time you stayed up all night talking on the phone? I'm so glad we don't have like it's not 2000 like 6 where you have
Someone like
like
a landline?
you know what I mean? Because I used to be up all night on the phone talking to you. That was such a beautiful time. It was like we were children again.
Yeah,
you know
it was
what I
so
mean?
fun.
Had my feet up,
Yeah, I was
twiddling,
saying I was swinging my legs like this,
smiling up.
smiling in the bed. You were doing
How
that?
you doing? no, I'm messing
I'm
around.
like, I'm pretty sure you were calm, cool, and collected. You probably were smiling though with your dimples coming out
I was like, hey,
at the legs.
yeah. So what you want?
Yeah,
What you did?
exactly. Exactly. Okay, we talked every day, on the phone every day.
Yeah.
We talked on voice memo every single day.
And mind you, it's not just like calling. We're not just calling just to be like, okay, we're on the phone, we're going through the motions. I'm literally like, who are you? We're so intentional with our time.
Well, that's because you can't just sit on the phone. That's what I'm saying. It's like when you're I've been in relationships that have been close in proximity. And when you get on the phone, you just like are listening to each other like breathe all the time. And you're like, yeah, because you're not really doing it. You're not talking about anything.
That's so sad.
But with you, there was never a dull moment, or there's never a time that we weren't talking about something in depth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I used to have I have notes in my journal about some conversations that we had in the past.
Really?
Like random conversations.
I would like to see these notes.
You would?
Yeah, sure. Because I don't remember nothing. I don't even remember yesterday like that.
Yes, you do.
You keep impeccable notes.
It was Easter.
Well, okay. Oh yeah. It was Easter.
You got a basket.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, as far as like
Right.
our conversations, I don't remember what we'd be talking about. I just be so in the present moment with you
Yeah.
and just chopping it up, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I feel good with that. With us talking. I don't know why I'm supposed to be. My arm is tired. Okay.
Okay,
Blair had
switch
me at the
arms.
gym this morning at 6:30 a.m. doing all kinds of stuff, including
Gains,
front
baby.
squats, which you know I don't like.
Gains. Hold on a second.
What happened? I love how it just stops recording in the middle of it. We can just cut that part out.
I mean, we can still make it work. Like when it cuts off there, we can just put two of like, you know,
Sure.
every now and again.
Okay, so I would say our long distance relationship was pretty successful. We didn't have any huge bumps in the road. I don't think.
I know we had some bumps.
I said huge for a reason.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, it wasn't even huge like that, but it was just it was effective. You know what I mean?
Okay, so do you think that those situations, which we can get into more detail about later, do you think that those situations were magnified because we were long distance?
Yeah, it was still playing on like the it always comes back to what I need as an individual. So like I think as far as having long distance, those situations that played up would have still been there.
Right, but what I'm saying is take that situation, put it into a relationship where we live in the same state and we can go see each other all the time. And then compare it to when we were long distance and that same situation happening when we were long distance.
Are we talking about the same situation? Which one are we talking about?
Well, there's only really two
Okay.
that I think of. Is that correct, what you're thinking of?
Yeah, I'm thinking preliminary stages, like the beginning.
The first one.
Sure.
So what I'm saying is, was it worse? That situation, was it worse because we were long distance, or would it have just been just as bad if we were close in proximity?
It would have been just as bad.
Dear Lord.
For
Okay.
sure.
What about situation number 2?
That was because of long distance.
Yeah, because we were even further distance away.
Right.
And that's good to like know also is that we were long distance for a while, one state away, and then you moved to Miami for a short period of time.
Yeah.
So we were even further distance away because it would take a like 5-hour flight to get there. And that created a whole other set of obstacles.
The boy was going through it. I mean, it wasn't just you and like being long distance and like having even further distance apart, it was everything. My whole reality changed.
Yeah, sure. But also it didn't help that you were 3 hours ahead of me. Because then I had to, like, then it was like when I woke up in the morning at my normal time at 6 a.m., like, you weren't up.
Sure. But I mean, I think if we're doing long distance, I would prefer to be ahead of you in time.
Well, so that you're like on the same-ish schedule as me?
Yeah. Because you be waking up hella early. Once I moved to Miami, I'm like, yo, I'm just waking up. You're just waking up. 3-hour distance is good. We're on the same timeline now.
Yeah, but it just felt like our days were so different because you were like in a whole, like, you're in a whole different segment of your day than I was. When it's breakfast for me, it's lunch for you.
When I wake up, life is just life. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
The life of a creative.
What it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But also like a lot harder for me to get out there to see you. And you definitely couldn't come see me.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't. I mean,
because there was not enough time. It was like if by the time that you traveled to see me in California with the length of flight, you would have gotten there and had a date and had to go right back home.
Yeah, but it all comes back to like being intentional and trying to make it work. I would try, like, I don't care if I got to spend 10 minutes with you. I will spend that money to let you know, like, hey, I'm trying to make this work and I'm making it work as much as I can. If we can't spend physical time with each other, at least we're going to be talking and being intentional.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I will try and show you in every way that I'm committed to you. So I'm like, it don't even matter. It ain't tricking if you got it.
What?
But yeah, going back to being long distance, how often do you think we visited each other?
In a month? Or like over the course of time?
Sure, in a month.
Probably 2 to 3.
2 to 3 times a month we will see each other.
Yeah.
Like bi-weekly. So yeah, and that's probably because when I got the paycheck, I'm like, okay, I got money. Now I can travel to see you.
Well, I traveled way more to see you than you traveled to see me.
Because you make more money. We are in a different class bracket, baby.
No. When I lived in LA, I did not make more money than you. Maybe like with bonuses, but really no. I mean, my cost of living was absolutely out of control.
Sure.
Everything is higher in LA. That's what, at the time, gas was like $6 a gallon.
But also, you have way more PTO than I did.
That's a difference.
You could take off time.
And I could work from your house.
Sure.
Because I was given like 1 day of like just full admin. Mm-hmm. So that's why it worked out.
And I ain't had that. I can't work from home from my job. That's very hard to do.
It's impossible. You can't. We also were like completely alone at your house versus at like my apartment. There was a dog and there was roommates and it was like a lot going on.
Yeah, so it's just bad. So I'm like, come visit me.
Probably trying to like convince you to move here without me even knowing. That's when it all started. That's when the grooming began.
Don't use that word.
That's what it's called. It is called grooming.
Okay, it probably is. Can we not use that word?
Sure.
But it was good foreshadowing that you would be moving out here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
1 year later.
You ain't got the beach no more.
Yeah, it's so sad. But
It's dry.
I will be going home quite a bit this summer so I can experience and enjoy the beach. It's like my favorite place to be.
Happy for you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Anyway. Okay, so round us out. What's the last topic that we're talking about when it comes to long distance?
How often do you physically spend time?
It's great.
I was trying to segue it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I took a gander.
I mean, I think that like us spending physical time definitely was like the highlight of our relationship. It just makes things so much more fun. Like when I don't see you, and not saying that's how I feel now. Like I love waking up every single day next to you. It's very fun.
Oh, babe.
But when you don't see somebody for like a week to 2 weeks to 3 weeks, and then you're like, okay, I get to see them. It's like you're just constantly planning out the next time that you're going to see them. And there's so much excitement built around you getting together with them again and creating memories.
Yeah. And also, like, I mean, it's Vegas. It can be very scary. But as far as things to do, Cause see, the thing is, I'm like, if you're gonna come out and visit me, I'm gonna make it worth your while. You know what I mean? So I'm like, there's so much that we can get into. So, I'm like, yeah, we can show you this. I can show you that. I can like, we got shows, live entertainment. So every single time you'll come out, I'm like, yo, there's so much I can show you.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty tapped into the city. So I'm like, I know a majority of the things that we can do here.
We had a great time. We did. We still do, even though I don't really go outside like that.
What do you think is like, in terms of me introducing or experience in Vegas? What do you think is the best? I don't want to say topic, genre, activity. Maybe. What was the best thing that you got to experience whilst visiting here?
I mean, that's a very hard question to answer. We did so many fun things. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is my birthday. Not this past year, but the year prior, because I was obviously ill this year. But it was before I moved here. I was visiting you here, and it was your like premiere night in a new show as like the main person, and doing the Stratosphere. Even though that's like a very scary place to be, like the being in the restaurant was just like so fun. Did we do something else during that trip? I feel like we did something else. I don't know. Every birthday that I've had with you and in Vegas has been so fun, and we haven't gone to the club one time.
Yeah. Wow. We've
actually never been to a club together.
That is crazy.
Is it?
That is.
Am I the only person that you've ever dated that you haven't gone to the club with before?
Technically, yes.
Love that. And that's how you married me, because you don't find love in the club.
Ugh. And I also wasn't really dating people like that while I was out here.
Okay, well, that's not necessarily true, but...
Like that, meaning I wasn't like a serial dater. I mean, being in relationships. Sorry, what did you mean? Am I the only... Say that sentence again. Am I the only person who you didn't really go to the club with, being in a relationship? Is that what you said? Was I not listening? You gotta play this back.
Am I the only person that you've dated that you haven't been to the club with before?
Yeah. I mean, other than my ex, but that's because she wasn't like technically old enough.
You guys never went to the club together?
No.
Wow.
I mean, I think I don't want to talk about it too much, but I mean, yeah, she wasn't exactly of age at the time. Being older than 21, this sounds really bad.
She was over the age of 18, but she was not 21.
Right.
Okay,
exactly.
that's what you don't want to get caught up in a lawsuit.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, that don't sound good at all. We're gonna take this out.
No.
But yeah, coming to Vegas, you have cuisine, you've got gambling, you've got shows. There's a lot of those things. I'm like, yeah, but we've never really been clubbing, and that's because I spent so much years being in a club, and I've learned that there's much more out there.
I mean, that's good for me because I have no intentions. I think I've been to maybe 3 clubs in my life.
Maybe we should go to the club.
The only way that I go to the club is if I have a table or someone has a table that I know, because I'm not waiting in line.
Yeah, I've never done that. I mean, it ain't about what you know, it's who you know.
Correct.
Baby. And you know me.
And I need to be away from people, because then they're like stepping on your toes, spilling drinks on you. Like, it just is not a good environment.
Yeah, good times. Yeah, we could probably make that happen. We might go to the club.
After all this, we decide we're going to go to the club.
Yeah, why
okay,
not?
So is it like, how much time have we been talking?
It's been 47 minutes.
Perfect.
Ish.
Yeah. Okay, so if we're going to round this out, and someone's considering starting a long-distance relationship, and you had to give them one piece of advice, what would it be?
Don't do it. No, I'm kidding. Don't.
Tell me how you really feel, because now we're married from it. So I think it actually worked out to your benefit.
Yeah. I would say be intentional. Understand what you're getting in a relationship for. Understand who you are, what you need. Communicate that with your partner and see how you both can find the middle ground on what you need in order to make your relationship successful. It's just that simple. At least I think it is.
So communication is key.
Communication. But other than just talking about it, be about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you're like, hey, look, this is what you've told me. Protected time. Quality time. I'm like, okay, what the hell that mean? I'll be on the phone with you, that's it. But I didn't realize that how I could show up for you is just giving you that protected time and being intentional with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like you got to put the action into it, but you have to state what you need.
Yeah.
Communicate, ask questions, and then be okay with expressing what you need. Don't just let it be all on that person's account of the things that they need. Take yourself into consideration also.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say.
I love that. Reciprocity.
Reciprocity. I couldn't say that word for the longest. I could not say that word for long. You told me that word.
It's a great word.
Reciprocity is the key for a successful relationship. IMO. In my opinion. Yeah.
Great job.
Hey,
Great.
we go back to those acronyms. I'm learning from you, baby.
Look at you.
IMO. What would you say?
That's a great, I mean, you know, I love reciprocity. It's my favorite thing to say. It's my favorite thing to do. But I think just like being, if you're someone who wants it to work or you are like unsure, I think it's important to name that in the very beginning of the relationship. It's something that I wish that we would have talked more about when we first started dating, because it was kind of like we just started doing the thing. We didn't really talk about like what we were doing. So it's like, okay, we're going to visit each other now. And it's like, we just happened to fall into like a cadence, which worked for us. Mm-hmm. But I think the reason it worked is because we were communicating about everything else. So it just, we could assume that it worked out for us. Where if maybe communication doesn't come naturally to somebody, I would say talk first about like what your intentions are. And if you think it could work before you invest all the time.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we invested the time, but I also think we both knew deep down that we were each other's person, so it worked out for us. You getting emotional?
Yeah, it's just it doesn't work for everybody. You know what I mean?
Long distance?
Just relationships in general. You can't just be like, yeah, copy and paste, it's gonna work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I want to say this is the first time everything that we've experienced, I haven't experienced before. Mm-hmm. It's a first for me, and it's because you kind of led that charge. You be reading books, listening to podcasts, trying to be better for yourself, which makes you better for the relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just took those cues. You taught me a lot how to show up in a relationship. I didn't. So not everyone's going to have a you in a relationship, but you could be a you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could be the you. Maybe that's a call to action. Be the
like
you.
That. Yeah. Like, be your best version of yourself. And don't just think that, don't ego trip and think that you got everything covered and figured out. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know, but you have to be open and willing to find out what it is that you could apply to your life to be better for yourself and subsequently better for your partner.
Well, I think that goes back to being open to the fact that people can change. Mm-hmm. We're not like sedentary creatures, so it's like who you were 3 years ago is not who you are today.
Facts.
But if I held you to the same standards of who you were, I could potentially like put parameters on you that wouldn't allow you to grow, or like would have not supported us in our relationship moving forward. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like not having like a growth mindset.
Was there any point in us being long distance that you were like, you know, he's not really showing up in the best way for this relationship?
No, you always showed up 100% of the time. Never had any questions. You like that? Positive reinforcement.
Yeah, I was hoping that you would have something. You know what I mean? To show that I wasn't as great as I could be.
No,
and I learned how to character development.
The thing about you that is your superpower, known to me and unbeknownst to others if they don't know you well, is if you get feedback, you can apply it immediately. So it was one of those things where I was like, okay, if I notice something that I don't necessarily like it's not supporting me or the relationship from my vantage point, I can express that with you and then tell you what I would like instead or what we could try instead. And then you'll immediately try it on.
Yeah, it's because I just want to maximize on the best way for you to love me. You know what I mean? Don't let me mess up and then take your love from me.
Now we're talking about conditional love on the next episode of Synced Up. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah, it's what are we doing? That's the next relationship, next episode.
Okay. Heading into this week, what's something that you're looking forward to?
Knocking off my goals one by one. Oh my God, we've got things to do. I've been planning. I have been planning, and I'm so excited to accomplish my goals.
I'm so excited for this.
I'm knocking them all off.
Blair's on a planner, so this is actually news to me.
You know those planners that they used to give you in like.
You never touched it.
What we used to do was we used to fold the papers. You
Like
know,
origami?
Yeah, on the pages.
Oh my God.
We used to fold them joints,
That hurts me.
turn them into frisbees, throw that in the bin. Rubbish.
The stickler in me is feeling a little bit overwhelmed, but whatever works best for you and the way that you learn, do that.
Now, what about you? What are you looking forward to this week?
Just getting some really clear calendaring out happening. I think there's a lot of things that are happening right now in my life, and so at a work level, and so I think for me to be able to calendar things out, so I put a stop on the time for me to accomplish things will be really important, so that I don't let things bleed over and that things get accomplished. So like making sure I have enough time for you and like putting it in my calendar. I know that sounds very scary for you, but I like have to block it out. Otherwise it just won't get done.
Pencil me into your schedule, damn it.
Every day. It's non-negotiable. I love you.
I love you more.
I'm excited for this week. And I'm excited for episode number 2. Look at us.
I think it went well. I haven't checked.
think so too.
I haven't checked the footage. We haven't checked the sounds, but I think we did it better this time.
We did it great.
We're gonna actually have something to show people.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, "What is he wearing? Vintage, baby. Come on now." Yeah.
The fact that we haven't even showered from the gym is like what's most
You
egregious.
ain't gotta tell them that.
Well, I'm telling them because I haven't.
We were strapped for time. I'm like, we need to get this going.
We were busy. And we're busy the rest of the day. But I love you. I hope you have a great week.
Likewise, my love.
And same time next week?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Pencil me into your schedule.
You're already there.
All right. Bye. Is that how we sign off? Bye.
Well, last time we said what our Insta and TikTok names were.
Okay. Yes. Ladies first.
Okay, well, I only have an Instagram, so you can follow me at Kalia Michaela. That is KHALIAMAKAELA.
That's a whole lot of A's.
Well, I wanted to be Kalia Edwards, but first of all, it's like taken, so I can't be that.
Who the? I ain't related to nobody like that. No, I'm messing around. My Instagram, Mr. Blair Edwards. Find me on TikTok. Black British guy. I'm being very intentional. Okay, I'm coming for that zillennial growth. All right, you're gonna be seeing a lot of clips. We're coming for it.
Let's just hope that TikTok doesn't get taken away based on the legislation.
I ain't got no dog in that fight.
Yeah, me either. Above my pay grade, but let's just hope. Fingers crossed. All right, I love you.
Love you more, baby. Wow.